Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. It is decided, the leadership of this country, of Germany, has decided that from next Monday, November the 2nd, the second big lockdown of 2020 will take effect. Once again, our parliament did not vote on that. The chancellor decided that together with the governors of our federal states. This is an undemocratic decision and it is constitutionally highly questionable. So this video is aimed at English speakers who want to know what is going on in Germany or who just want to see a proper example of how a totalitarian state looks like in the 21st century in Europe. I already talked about some of the proposed measures in the previous video today, and all of what was proposed there basically will take effect from next Monday. I will outline a few surprises or a few changes in this video. And it is also worth mentioning that many scientists and medical professionals are positioning themselves against the plans of our government, and they are saying that these measures are unscientific and even counterproductive, while at the same time state-funded science organizations are supporting Angela Merkel because they fear that the steady stream of the taxpayers' money would be diminished if they don't say exactly what Angela Merkel wants them to say. If you want to support my work, the best thing you can do is share this video with other people. And if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe to my channel and activate the bell icon down below to get notifications in the future. So, I already mentioned a lot of the changes, a lot of the restrictions in my earlier video, but that was just a plan. Now they really decided on these things. And instead of the start date being November the 4th, it comes sooner. It comes already on Monday, November the 2nd. So what will change? There is a 2-household rule, for example. That means only up to 10 people from 2 different households are allowed to meet in private or in public. And that means if, for example, 2 children who live in different apartments want to visit their parents, that is not possible because that would be 4 people in the minimal case and 3 different households, and that is not allowed. If a policeman finds out, you get in trouble. You will be fined or worse, but I think it is fines. And here the articles get a little bit fishy. They say that people should stay at home and not travel at all. They should not visit relatives and also don't go on day trips, for example. Hotels will be closed anyway, so day trips is the only thing that would be theoretically possible, but even that shouldn't be done. And I don't know if there are fines for that now or if they are just suggesting that people should do that. So in any case, this weekend is the last chance to meet your friends or relatives. Then of course, as I said, businesses have to be closed down. Hotels, for example, only for business travelers, like in March and April. Restaurants, bars and cafes can only deliver or offer takeout food. Gyms, massage parlors, etc. will be closed. Hairdressers will be able to open under special conditions. Of course, all large gatherings are banned. That means there are no cultural events and spectator sports are actually without spectators in November. But as I said before, it was to be expected. People are still supposed to go to work, of course. That means commuting trains and crowded buses, that is fine. And also, while restaurants have to close, canteens can stay open, because when you're eating your lunch in a canteen at work, then the virus is harmless. It is only in these privately owned restaurants and cafes when it becomes really dangerous, So when you look at all these measures, it becomes clear again that this government doesn't respect the citizens of Germany in the least. As long as they go to work and shut up and pay their taxes, everything is fine. The rest is not relevant for them. It is not necessary. I also want to stress that this is the second such lockdown within the running year. And that means that our businesses, especially like restaurants or hotels or smaller businesses, they survived, or some of them survived, the first lockdown in March, April with great difficulty. And now the second lockdown will wipe them out completely. There is a little peculiarity though. Now it is said that in shops, one customer is allowed per 10 square meter of shop area. And before these talks that Angela Merkel had with the governors, in the suggestion paper, it was written per 25 square meters. So see what they did for the people? Now way more customers are allowed to be in a shop at the same time. That was so worth it. And whereas before you needed a measurement of distance that was 1.5 meter distance, now you need an aerial measurement, and that is way more complicated, of course. So I wonder if it was really worth it, or if it is just confusing people again. I am sure that a bankruptcy wave will sweep over Germany, and this is exactly what Angela Merkel wants. She wants to annihilate small businesses and family businesses, even mid-sized businesses, everything that is not a multinational big global corporation that is of course controlled by several states and by many world governments. Angela Merkel wants them gone. Only big businesses will survive. And why should anybody be surprised about that when you consider where Angela Merkel comes from? She comes from a country where you couldn't just found your own private business, where the state, or actually where one party ran everything, where people were under constant observation of a secret police force that could read your mail and could listen to your phone calls, where a industrial subcommittee of the state decided how many products with what specifications will be produced in the coming 3 or 5 years. So why is anybody surprised that she wants to transform Germany or even Europe right now into such a state? And it is not only Angela Merkel's own life experience and her own biography that lends itself as a rich and fitting example for such a state. You only have to look into the Far East. Continental China is the perfect example where Angela Merkel wants to take us to. So there is a little bit of resistance already. There is the party and event scene of Germany, for example. No, not the proverbial party and event scene. I mean the literal party and event scene. They were protesting against the bans of concerts and such cultural events. But who takes these people serious anyway after they have worked full of conviction as little propaganda instruments for Angela Merkel for all these years? And now all of a sudden they notice that this communist utopia that they were fighting for with Angela Merkel is not to their liking. The funny thing is that they still don't get why we are in this situation. And then, as I said, there is also this group of scientists and medical professionals. They put out a thesis paper today where they position themselves and where they declare their core standpoints. I understand their standpoint in that way, if I have to sum it up, that they want to suggest to people what they should do and not ban certain things or say to people that this, that, and the other is now forbidden. They want to win over the people and try to motivate them to be careful, and also that, of course, high-risk groups should be protected, but these general bans, these general lockdowns are counterproductive and unscientific, and especially this incidence count number, like if you have more than 50 per 100,000 inhabitants, that is completely unscientific in their opinion, as I have already stated in many previous videos and presentations. They are also criticizing that a lot of these measures are creating collateral damage, even in the medical field itself. Just think about surgery that has to be postponed or some therapy that someone cannot get because the hospitals are all focusing on this one China virus now. That can be summed up as the cure should not be worse than the disease, and that is something that Donald Trump has said, for example, and I have used this exact same phrase also previously. In stark contrast to that, you see the established taxpayer-funded science institutions in Germany. That is the Academy of the Sciences, it is the Fraunhofer Society, the Leibniz Society, the Max Planck Society. All these groups, they are basically parroting what Angela Merkel says in unreflected, unscientific and bovine compliance. I don't know if they are threatened or pressured or if they're just doing that because that is their natural state of being as taxpayer-funded organizations. Because the government, of course, distributes or redistributes the taxpayer money. So it became a habit for them to cultivate disgust and hatred against the taxpayers in Germany, but they are subservient and obedient to the political class that gives them the money of the taxpayers. But of course, all these grand, traditional, glorious German science foundations and scientific societies, they also can't give a scientific reason for the measures. They also can't say, while under 50 everything is okay and above 50 it is dangerous all of a sudden. They also cannot tell you why restaurants have to be closed down, even though there is no evidence for an increased rate of infections from bars, restaurants, and cafes. Most people are infected in their own private homes and not in hotels and not in restaurants and not in bars and not in cafes. These claims are made up and they are unscientific. But I guess there is a strong demand among some elite circles to keep people from socializing at this time. Yeah, somehow they don't want people to talk to each other right now. Gee, I wonder why that is. Alright, so there you have it. Mr. Söder wanted more severe restrictions, and some people in Eastern Germany, like Mr. Ramelow, they said in the beginning that they're not happy about these measures or the way that they're decided on, but I have not heard any opposition from their side against what has been proclaimed now. So maybe tomorrow or maybe this evening we find out more. At the current point, I have not heard who was for that or against it. In the end, I think they all agreed on it. Of course, I will try my best to keep you updated because some of you guys are interested in that. Take care. Servus, Kameraden.